Hey, ladies, and welcome to this Easter weekend strategy call. So, we're going to talk about chocolate family meals, staying on track. Easter can feel like a little bit like a mini Christmas, right? You've got lots of food, socializing, and yeah, of course, chocolate. But we're not going to work on any sort of restriction or guilt trip ourselves this time. And the idea of this call is to allow you to enjoy the weekend and give you the tools to stay aligned with your goals as well. And when we think about it, Easter is really only 2 to 3 main meals, right? And it's just a few days when you think about it in the bigger picture. And the most important thing is to focus on the habits over any sort of perfection. So, yes, you might be doing like a Good Friday fish and chips, or there might be like, your Easter Sunday roast, and Monday might be full of leftovers. But yeah, it's just a few meals. It's not going to be a full-on derailment. So just zoom out and think about your habits before and after the weekend, because that's what's going to drive results. And so when we're thinking about flexible fat loss tools, these are the things that we can apply for the week ahead. So let's say, for example, you decide that, so you're training 3 times a week. Let's say you're training this week, you've just trained on Monday. Everyone does them, never miss a Monday. So you've trained on Monday, you're going to train on Wednesday, and you're going to train on Friday. Now, what that means is that on the Tuesday and the Thursday, you can deduct some calories. This is a little bit different than what we might do with calorie banking. It's more of a strategic plan. So you could have 200 calories less on your non-training days. And then again, that's just going to try and give you a little bit more flexibility. And then when we're thinking about protein over the course of the weekend, you still want to try and aim to hit that 100 grams of protein per day, or 1.6 grams per kilo of body weight. So I know that the 1.6 grams per kilo of body weight might feel like a stretch for some of you. So at least trying to aim for that 100 grams or thereafter. Okay, so, and then also thinking about balanced plates, instead of maybe even going for a smaller plate as opposed to like a big plate. We could almost eat with our eyes. And so, with that said, filling up the plate might feel like, oh, I'm enjoying everything. Having a smaller plate might allow you to kind of have that sort of feel of, do you need to go and have seconds, or are you truly full, or do you need to have a glass of water in between, those sorts of things. So it's similar tactics that we would have made maybe possibly around Christmas meals as well. And yeah, the main thing is, if you don't want to track, that's absolutely fine. So you can kind of stick to sort of being more mindful, slowing down, and aiming for balance. And then when it comes to chocolate or treats, you can plan for them, right? So we don't want to restrict ourselves. We want to be allowing them in and understanding why as well. So we're going to go into that in a moment. But if you are tracking this weekend, again, just aim for, you could aim for sort of 200 calories less on the Tuesday and Thursday, and those could be moved over to either day at the weekend without causing any sort of dent in your weekly deficit or what have you. But tracking should be easy enough. Again, it's not going to be precise or, maybe as specific as it might normally be. But again, you can always use guesstimations and rules around, what things look like, that sort of thing. So, chocolate is not actually the problem. So let's be real about it. One egg isn't going to ruin anything. And as you can see, one Easter egg, 500 to 600 calories per egg. It can easily fit into your day and you can have guilt-free enjoyment. So no all or nothing spiral. And you can also share an Easter egg as well. That's also an option. So it's not a complete fat gain disaster. And this is the problem. The problem is, and what we need to break is that restriction, the guilt, the binge, that cycle of, I need to stop myself having it. So the idea is that, you know, you are aiming to still get your steps in, you're still getting your good meals in, and maybe you'll have the egg, break it up and share it, and not having it all in one sitting, right? Oh, look at that. I'm already jumping forward. Another thing that I want you to realize is that when it comes to the calories of an Easter egg, let's say in terms of gaining 1 pound of fat, the equation for 1 pound of fat is a 3,500 calorie surplus. So that means you would need to eat, let's say these are 500 calorie eggs, you would need to eat 7 full eggs that go above and beyond your maintenance over the course of that 7 days, that week. So I thought this would be really interesting to kind of work through here. So again, using this for a bit of perspective. So I've got some options there. So whether you can eat dairy or you're vegan, all these eggs kind of sit around that sort of 500 to 600 calories. And you can easily, already just by looking at this, you can see how you can fit that into your day or split it over a few. And just like any other food, it's not off limits and we don't want to view it as bad, right? So for me, for example, I might opt for a no-mo creamy choc egg and it's 530 calories. I might have half one day or half the next day. Or I might have half this weekend, maybe half the next weekend if I'm really trying to dial in during the week. Or I might decide to share it and not be a pig about it. So yeah, have a quick screenshot of this as well. Or most all the eggs you get these days, they all have calorie nutritional information on the back anyway. So here we go. Will you gain fat from one Easter egg? Well, no, as I've just told you, not unless you're significantly over your maintenance calories for multiple days. So to gain that 1 pound of fat, so 0.45, because I know that we work in grams or kilograms when we're doing our weigh-ins, you need a consistent surplus of 3,500 calories above your maintenance. So let's work this out. Let's say, for example, your maintenance is 1,800 calories. You can eat an egg that puts you into 2,200 calories or a portion of an egg, and you'll only be 400 calories over. So that's technically not enough to gain fat because you would need to do that 9 days in a row to gain that 1 pound of fat. So why does the scale go up? And I know this is the scary thing, right? And just to also just frame that we need to focus on the moment or focus on the week or not the moment, should I say? Because our body is smarter than we give it credit for. So why does the scale go up? So water retention and food volume. So again, you might see the scales go up by 0.5 to 1.5 kilos, and it's water and it's not fat. So again, it's going to be more carbs, salt, treats, less sleep as well. These will all create or cause temporary weight increases. And just to remember that the real progress is fat loss, and that takes time. It doesn't take punishment nor perfection. So your body is not going to just gain fat like that. Your body is doing its thing. It's doing what it's supposed to, right? So there you go. Look, carbs bind with water. So every 1 gram of stored carb or eaten carb, 3 to 4 grams of water will be a part of that, right? It will add on weight. You will retain that much amount of water. Um, so let's say how can we put this in grams to make it sound really easy? Um, anyway, salt and sugar. These also, I was going to try and create that or convert that to pounds, but we're not going to go there. Salt and sugar. So again, these are going to increase water retention. That is the job of salt for sure. It will pull, right? That's its job. Stress and sleep disruption. These again can raise cortisol and they can cause scale increases too. So again, the scale might rise zero point 0.5 to 1.5 kilos after Easter, but remembering that it's not fat, it's water, it's inflammation, it's extra food in your system, and it can even be less bowel movement. So if there's been a change in fiber, for example, and water intake, you might not poo like you normally do. So maybe you might be a little backed up. That can have an effect as well. So let's think about how we approach the weekend because not everybody celebrates Easter per se, but you'll celebrate the holidays in some way. And most of us, again, it's a great time to enjoy these wonderful, fancy looking Easter eggs in all different shapes. But let's say you are out for meals, right? So you can opt for a few things here. You can bring something balanced if you're going to a friend's or you're entertaining, you can kind of make the choice around that. Ensure that you get some protein before you head out. So you could go for, let's say you end up training that day. If you train, make sure you get a small amount of carbs and protein before you train. So you've got some energy source. Make sure you come back and you have a decent, protein, carb rich meal. And those are some of the things that you can kind of do if you are a training day. And then also late, if there's some hours or time in between you going out, you could have some protein powder mixed with some water as well. That's an option. But yeah, so having some protein before heading out. Watching your liquid calories. So this is really important. So things like 0 calorie drinks or low calorie drinks are not going to make you put on weight, right? They're going to make you put on fat or weight or increase take you out of your deficit. Water isn't going to do that either. So always sticking to those sorts of options. And then we're thinking about options that are more calorific, your full fat diet, your full fat Cokes, should I say, your drinks, being mindful that it might look like it's healthy, but again, a lot of the time, the cans, for example, they'll say 330 mils on, and you might see something that says 60 calories per 100 mil. You then got to times that by 3.3. You're probably looking at almost 200 calories there. So it's just being mindful of that. And then when you are drinking alcohol, well, alcohol is going to create some temporary inflammation and water retention there as well. So, and it's calorific as well. So they're not empty, they're not zero, they are something. And then yes, the most important thing is definitely make sure that you eat before events. And yeah, bringing something balanced. So you could bring something that, aligns with you and the kind of goals that you're thinking of. Maybe don't bring a potato gratin or something. Maybe do something where it's like some protein within that. Or if you're doing like a cauliflower cheese, maybe you might use something with maybe a lean cheese version, something with a bit more protein in. Personally, for me or any of the other veggies or vegans, I might bring some marinated tempeh, for example, something you can kind of like cook up or pre-cook, etc. And when we're thinking about after Easter, okay, again, you'll see the scales go up potentially if you've operated different this weekend, right? The Easter weekend itself. So you just need to kind of focus on getting back to normal. So no massive slash of calories or making up for it. It's always easier to prep before the event in that sense. That before the event, the mindset shift is like I'm planning or I'm prepping before. And when we're thinking off the back end and you try and do that, it always goes wrong because it's kind of, it falls into that kind of guilt vibe. So try not to think about that because that could sometimes lead to sort of bingey cycles in that sense. So return to your normal rhythm. So normal meals, your steps, your sleep, your water, you're going to be fine. So this is something you could actually plan. If you know that the weekend's going to be hectic, on a Thursday, whatever you've had this week, on a Thursday, do some pre-planning. Maybe again, go onto MyFitnessPal, just track in a few things for the Monday, if that's when you're going to go back to normal. Or if it's the Tuesday that you go back to normal, just plug in a few things, maybe some easy meal options that you know are going to tick the protein and the fiber and your calorie intake as well. And yeah, meals nice and simple. Don't punish yourself. It's just a reset. Get your steps in and just remember that even if you do screw up, that one day does not equal failure. So I want you to think about what your Easter strategy plan is. You're going to pick one or two of the tools that I've shared within this call. And that's what you'll use this weekend. I want you to share it in the group chat today, share it with me as well, for those of you that work with me closely, and enjoy your weekend, right? Your goals don't just suddenly disappear because you've had one Easter egg. Remember that you are in control and this is your life. The whole point of this program is to allow you to enjoy holidays, to enjoy food, to enjoy chocolate. Progress comes from what you do most of the time and not just one meal. So you have totally got it, girls. All right. Hope you enjoyed this. Please, maybe you should start doing some hashtags. Hashtag Easter. And then I want you to put in the group your biggest takeaway from this, maybe the mindset shift that you've got now or that you're going to take moving forward as you operate into this week and this week ahead and the weekend, maybe what you're going to do after it. Just think about one or two of those strategies and yeah, we'll see you here next time.